Hello, Mrs. Harris. I'm Ethan, Casey's project partner.
Last time on Casey. A young woman named Casey navigates the challenges of a mandatory school project, intentionally avoiding collaboration with her assigned partner, Ethan, due to a history of interpersonal tension. Her attempts at evasion are abruptly halted when Ethan establishes direct contact regarding their shared academic responsibility. This interaction intensifies Casey's apprehension, leading to a direct encounter the following morning at school, highlighting the escalating dynamics of their partnership.
Chapter 13. Casey.
The afternoon air in Casey's room was thick with a nervous energy she couldn't shake. Her hands moved in a blur, shoving discarded clothes, textbooks, and random trinkets into baskets and drawers. It was the afternoon. Ethan Crawford, the bane of her high school existence, was due to arrive. The image of his arrogant smirk already haunted her mind. Then the sound, a sharp, insistent chime from downstairs, sliced through the quiet tension, reverberating through the entire house. Casey froze, her pulse thrumming wildly against her eardrums.
"I'll get it," Eleanor called out, her voice cheerful, oblivious to the impending storm.
She crept to her bedroom door, cautiously pushing it open just enough to glimpse the top of the staircase. Her heart threatened to leap from her throat as she peered down, a silent observer in her own unfolding drama. Below, Eleanor swung open the heavy front door, and there he stood, Ethan Crawford. He exuded an aura of effortless power.
Hello, Mrs. Harris. I'm Ethan, Casey's project partner.
"Oh, hello, Ethan. Come in, please," she chirped, gesturing him inside. "Casey mentioned you were coming. It's truly wonderful to finally meet you."
Just then, Casey's dad, Will, emerged from the kitchen, wiping his hands on a dish towel, his gaze curious.
"You must be the young man collaborating with our Casey," he said, his voice a warm rumble. "I'm Will."
"A pleasure to meet you, sir," his eyes briefly flicking upwards as if sensing Casey's spying presence. "Casey has spoken so highly of you both."
Liar, Casey fumed silently, rolling her eyes from her hidden perch. He was manipulating them, playing their genuine kindness like a finely tuned instrument, and they were utterly charmed. Ethan inwardly smirked. It was almost too easy.
"She's just upstairs, in her room, first door on the right. Would you children like some snacks? I just baked a fresh batch of chocolate chip cookies."
"That would be absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much," Ethan replied, his voice dripping with such angelic sweetness it made Casey's teeth ache. The sheer audacity of his act was breathtaking.
Casey scrambled back into her room, a flush creeping up her neck. She flung herself into her desk chair, snatching her notebook and pretending to be utterly absorbed in its cages. The knock on her door came moments later, soft yet insistent. Then, without waiting for an invitation, the door creaked open. Ethan stepped inside, his dark eyes instantly sweeping across her space. The sweet, polite facade he had worn for her parents evaporated as quickly as morning mist, replaced by that familiar, infuriatingly mocking smirk.
"So, this is the infamous pig pen," Ethan drawled, his voice a low, teasing rumble that sent a shiver down Casey's spine, though she refused to show it.
"Very funny," Casey retorted, her cheeks burning. "Can we just get this over with? Did you bother to look at the layout I sent you?"
"I did," Ethan said, pulling out her desk chair, the only other chair in the room, and settling into it with an air of arrogant ease.
"It's decent," he conceded, a hint of patronizing approval in his tone. "But we need to inject more visual elements, more pizzazz, if we're aiming for anything beyond a C."
For the next hour, a strange, almost miraculous calm settled over the room. They actually worked without incident, an unnerving truce. They dove into the labyrinth of website design, discussing the aesthetic of a cafe's online presence. Ethan, to her begrudging surprise, provided genuinely insightful design suggestions for the CSS. He lacked the technical finesse, but his eye for visual appeal was undeniable. It was a bizarre, unexpected synchronicity,
their minds clicking on the project, despite the palpable tension that still hummed beneath the surface.
From Ethan's side, he found her competence intriguing. She was sharp, more capable than he gave her credit for.
A soft knock broke their focused silence. Eleanor's smiling face appeared at the door, holding a tray laden with warm, glistening chocolate chip cookies and 2 tall glasses of cold milk.
Here you go, kids. Don't work too hard.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Harris. These look absolutely amazing.
He picked up a cookie, his movements smooth and practiced.
You're very welcome, Ethan. Just let me know if you need anything else.
Eleanor replied, her gaze lingering on him for a moment before she quietly closed the door, leaving them once again in the charged silence of Casey's room.
The instant the door clicked shut, the transformation was complete. The polite mask dropped. Ethan took a slow bite of the cookie, savoring it, his eyes meeting Casey's with a familiar glint of mischief.
Your parents are genuinely nice. A real shame you didn't inherit their charm.
And it's a shame you only use your charm to manipulate people. You really had them eating out of your hand.
It's called basic respect, Koshinu. Something you clearly know nothing about.
He relished the faint flush that blossomed on her cheeks, the way her eyes narrowed. He enjoyed this dance. Whatever. Can we just focus on the wireframe? Ethan's gaze lingered on her for a moment longer, before he leaned forward, shifting his weight. His shoulder brushed against her, a fleeting, almost imperceptible contact that sent a jolt of raw electricity straight through Casey. She stiffened, every nerve ending screaming. His cologne, a complex blend of rich cedar and sharp, clean mint, enveloped her, clouding her senses. She could feel the heat radiating from his body, the subtle tension in the air. His intense gaze was burning a hole into the side of her face, even though her eyes were fixed on the glowing monitor.
You know, Miss Green said working together would be an opportunity for me to learn.
Slowly, deliberately, he turned his head, his dark, piercing eyes locking onto hers. The expression in them was unreadable, a potent mix of challenge, amusement, and something else entirely, something deep and unsettling that Casey couldn't decipher. It made her heart pound, not with fear, but with a strange, undeniable magnetic pull.
I'm sure it will be beneficial for me too.